Yeah. Okay, today we are going to talk about what is package and how we are dealing with the access modifiers like public. You see all the public here, right? So how we are going to deal with access modifiers, and then write little bit loops. Now, what is a package? Package is nothing but, you can treat it as a folder. So if you want to keep multiple packages, so here you see here package experiment. So if you want to do a different way, you can do it. Now, in general, so here on the main Java, I'm selecting new, and then you see the option package. So that means you can move any one type of classes into one particular folder. That is nothing but package. So now here I am saying com, something like biohire, something like this. This is my package. So now you see here. So any change now on the physical disk, I'll show you how this will be. So main Java, you see here com, biohire, training. So the three folders are created on the folder structure whenever I created a package. So nothing but that's how it is. So now inside this package, I am going to create a class which is person. So now if you see here, we have two person classes, but no problem because one person class in a different package, you see right, main Java experiment person. Other one is in a different location. So by using packages, you can group, similar kind of functionality classes into one package, or whenever you have the same names, you don't get a conflict. So now let's say if I create one more Java class inside the same package. It is. So now you see the error here, type already exists. So that means within a package, you cannot create same class names again and again. So that's nothing but package. Now, let's get into access modifiers. So in Java, we have 4 different types of access modifiers. Public, private, default, protected. So these are the 4 different types of access modifiers. So in the previous example, you have seen only public. So meaning when it is public, even though you have multiple packages within the project folder, meaning experiment, within the folder, project, whenever you say public, you can access them anywhere in your application. That is nothing but public. Now, that's the reason in Welcome we were able to create object and able to get first names like this. So we are able to create a class object of a person, and then we are able to get first name of the class. So this one. Now, let's say because it is public, you can access in a variable or method anywhere in your application. Now, I'm saying private. Now, once I make a private, I cannot access that variable, private variable or private method. Even if I declare a method as a private, you can make method or a variable as a private. Constructors, No, you cannot make them private. Constructors are a class. You can't make them private. Because if you make a class as a private, there is no meaning of that class to use anywhere in your application. So similarly, if you make constructors private, that means you cannot create objects of that class. Then there is no meaning in it. So you can create a variable as a private or method as a private. Now I created here private variable, private method. Now let's go back and here. So you see it's already in error. And now I'm trying to say person dot, see here, I can't get add method. You don't see add method here. So welcome is a different class, and person is a different class. I'm not getting add method in welcome class. Now let's say here, if I make it public, just to show you the difference. Now you see the add method. So that means any private variables or methods cannot be accessed outside of the class. So you can declare anything private, and private variables or methods can be accessed inside the same class, but they will not be exposed outside of the class. So that's the meaning of private. So now here I'm saying private add. So in the division, now I can get them easily. So this dot add. So I'm able to access inside the class, but not outside. So that is the purpose of private. Now, so default and protected. Default, if you make it anything default, for example, I make it as a default. Oh, sorry, I can't make it here. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'll do here only because I created a separate package. Now, I'm not giving any. Default means you don't need to give something like this. Default means don't give anything. Just void add. That's it. This is a default method. I did not give any access modifier at the highlighted location. So now here the add method and class is available inside the package com prior training. So whenever I declare default, I can access them within the same package, not outside the package. Now let's say I'll delete this another class just for clarification. Okay. So now here welcome is at a different package and person is at a different package. Now come back to welcome. New person. I'm creating a person coming from com prior hire training person. That's the package. Person 1. So now you see here, though I have add method available, but I cannot get add method here. But I have my add method. Let's say if I make them public, now come back to here. Now you can see add method. That means once you declare any method as a default, any variable as a default, you can access them within the package. Now let's say here and try to create a new class within the package I'm creating. example one, some package, some class, okay? Example. So both are in the same package. Now I try to use the same method. Now, person.add, I can get it in the same package because you see here, example and person at the same location. I will remove the public. Now, my add method, default access modifier is just default. So that's why you still can be able to access them in another class as long as the other class in the same package. But in case of welcome, this is in a different package. That's why you cannot access it. You can't access it. So that's the purpose of default. And the last one is protected. So protected is more like parent and child class. I will explain that one in a later session. So any questions on public, private, and default?
No question.
Are you clear? Okay. So now, that's what we learn about what is packages, what is access modifiers. Now let's look at writing a simple programs using different loops. Let's start with if loop, if and else. So these are all loops and conditions we will use to write any mathematical implementations or any business logic or anything like that. Now let's look at in the person. I'm making it as a public, and here I keep it as add. Let's look at here. So now I'm just trying to. I don't write any business logic or anything. I just print out, keep the different printout statements, and then you can see how they are executed. Now, if. So let's talk about only if-else conditions first. So for this method, I am passing Boolean flag. Boolean is the type of the argument, and flag is just a variable name. Now, if flag and open and close braces, else, and then something else. So we are creating two different conditions here. If the flag comes as true, then the execution will go inside the if loop. I'm just saying inside the if loop. Else, meaning if the flag comes as false, meaning here if not true, that can be anything. If not true, that means the execution will go to else loop. Okay. Else loop. So now here I am passing it as true. Now let's execute this. See here, starting the execution, this line, and then 111, that is part of this line, and then because I have given true, it is going inside if loop. Now let's say if I make false, so it will go to else loop because the condition is not satisfied. See that? It goes to else loop. So if else conditions means anything that you can give here that should match, the condition should be satisfied to go inside that loop. If the condition does not satisfy, it will go to else loop. For example, here I'm saying int count, another variable I'm passing, and country, I'm saying some other string country. So three variables I am passing into, three arguments I am passing into this method. Now, here I am going to give true, count is 10, country is double quotes because string should be defined in a double quotes, India. So I am passing three arguments here. So now inside the loop, here I can say if flag and end. You need to give 2 ampersands. That's the meaning of end logical operation. And count, whatever the count comes equal to means double equals to 10. And country, whatever the country argument comes, that's a string object. Country equals and give India. Then go inside this loop. If any of this condition does not match, it will come here. That means here the condition is flag should be true and count should be equal to 10 and country should be equal to India. So all three conditions should be satisfied to go inside if loop. Okay, and now we can see the execution. I just keep the execution. Now you see it is inside the if loop. Just for getting into the else loop, I am saying India, I am changing the country name to something. Now you see the difference. It goes to else loop because the last condition is not satisfied. So anything that you give inside the if, all the conditions should be satisfied. Then only it will go inside the loop and execute it. Now let's say you've seen so far end operations. These are ampersand is nothing but end operator. Now I'm changing differently. I mean, this is kind of a combination. You can make however you want to build the conditions depending on the business requirements. Now I'm saying something like this, meaning the condition here is either flag should be true or count should be 10 and country should be India, meaning one of these two conditions should be satisfied and then add this to go inside the loop. This is how you can create end operators and combination of end and or operators. Now, I'll go back to here and keep the India back. So now I'm saying count is equal to 11. Now you're still inside the loop, though I changed the count because it is satisfied flag is equal to true. That's it. So that means this condition, whatever I have highlighted, because it is an OR operation, one of the conditions should be satisfied. So here the flag is already true. So it don't need to check this one. Immediately execution jump to country and check whether country is right. Then it will go inside the if loop. Now let's say to fail, I'm saying true I'm making true as false. So now the first two conditions are false. That means the whole OR operation is false because this is false and this is false. Nothing is satisfied in this. So it should not go into if loop. Now you see else loop. So that's how you can create your own if and else conditions. And one more condition is you can do, now here so far you see if and else, or you can make if, else if, else. That is another scenario you can do with if else conditions. So here what I'm doing here, if, else if, count equal to 11, I'm saying some other condition here. Awesome. So something. So now the first condition will not be satisfied from this because I am passing false, right? So any one of these conditions will be executed. If this is satisfied, then the Java will not execute any of these lines. So only one condition out of if else will be executed. So now in the current situation, because I'm passing false, 11, and India, that meaning the first thing will not be satisfied, and Java will try to check second condition here. So now the count is equal to 11. It should go and print awesome. Now you can see it is printed awesome. So this is how you can create any number of else if conditions. There is no limit. So in the second else if, I can say, flag if flag equal to false. So I can say that. Second awesome, something I have mentioned here. Now I'm running the same code and you should not see any change in the execution. Still it goes to awesome because the first condition is not, first if is not satisfied, it went into second. And because it is satisfied, it won't check any of the next conditions available. Now let's say if I'm making this to 12, 1 to 12. So there is no condition checking for 12. Now just execute the same program. It will go to second else if. You see that second awesome. Because the first line is not satisfied and first else if is not satisfied. And then it goes here. This condition is satisfied. And that's why you see the print statement. So this is how you can create if, else conditions. Any questions? Are you clear?
No, no questions.
Other folks?
No questions.
Okay. Okay. Now let's focus on how to create for loops. So to create for loops, I am going to change the same method, or I'll leave it this method. Maybe I'll use a different method. Okay. I'll remove this problem. probably. So now I'm creating one more method, public void print numbers. I'm just giving some method name, print number. So now here I am saying int count. That's it. I have declared a parameter variable name. So now inside this, I am creating a for loop. So my objective is to print from 0 to whatever the count number comes. If the count is 5, from 0 to 5, I should print all the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to do that, here what I'm doing for int, I'm declaring a variable I equal to 0, I less than count, I plus plus. I'll explain each one. So now, so this means counter or plus I. So here what I'm trying to do is, this line you already know how to define a method. So whatever the count comes in, so in the for loop, first is index variable. What is where should I start, indexing the conditions. I equal to 0. I initialize it as 0. I less than count. Until count is until I is less than count, it will go inside the for loop. And here I plus plus. So each time for loop is executed, the I will become plus plus. One counter will increase. So first time I is equal to 0, and 0, and second time it will 1, third time execution 2, like that, 3. So I value will always incremented by one number because I mentioned I plus plus. So now let's come back to here, and here I'm saying person dot one dot print numbers. I'm giving 5. And now you see here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All 5 starting from 0 until 4 it is printed. Because I have mentioned first number is I equal to 0, it will go here. Second loop I equal to 1, third loop I equal to 2, fourth loop I is equal to 4, and fifth loop, like this, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how you can loop through. For that matter, I just mentioned count. You can loop through anything. So now here, you can change, this line is nothing but your condition. This condition you can change to anything. Now I'm saying I is equal to count plus 1. I less than count plus 1. So now what happens is it will print number 5 also because my condition has changed. So fifth is also included. Now let's say instead of I is equal to 0, I can say I equal to 3. I want to loop through only third number. Still, you can do that. So you can start looping through from any number, and as long as your condition, see here, 3, 4, 5. In this situation, what happens? First is 3, second is 4, third is 5. So first, the first variable in for loop is index. Second one is condition, third one is increment. So this is how you can use for loops. Now, let's say I want to use I want to skip one of the loop inside this. So now again I'm saying here if I equal to 4, I'm saying continue. whenever the 4 comes, that means if the counter 4 comes, just continue, meaning it should not print this line. Now we'll see that. Now you see only 3 and 5. 4 is missed. So whenever you say continue here, so it won't execute next lines inside the for loop. Okay? So this is how you can use continue. So now here you see 3 and 5 because 4th is skipped. Whenever you say continue, that particular loop will be skipped after this line, after the continue. Let's say if you tried something here, it will print. Before plus I. Now you can see here. Before 3, counter 3. Before 4. But there is no counter 4. Meaning, whenever this condition is satisfied, any lines after them will not be executed. So that's the meaning of continue. Now I am keeping break. Now you see here, there is no 5. 5 is missed. So whenever the break condition happens, it will break whole for loop chain. Continue will skip only that particular loop and break will completely break whole for loop. Any questions?
Once again repeat, continue, sir. Hello?
I did not get it. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Couldn't understood continue, sir.
Okay. So whenever I say, it's like this. Let's say if the whole for loop runs for 3, 4, 5. So for 4, I'm saying continue. So continue means what happens is, it will print 3, but it won't print 4. 4 will be missed. 5, only 5. Break means everything will break. So I'll show you, I'll give you again the same picture. So now here, continue. So now what happens is, first loop is 3. It will come inside. It will print this line and I is not equal to 3. I is not equal to 4. So this condition is not satisfied. It will come out and print this line. And second time the loop comes, I will become 4. And this will print 4 and I equal to 4. This condition is satisfied. So that means it will go inside the if condition. Whenever it see continue, it won't execute this line. From here, it will directly jump to for loop, next for loop again. So that's the meaning of continue. Let me come and show you again. So now we see here. So before 4 is printed, but there is no counter 4, meaning, so whenever the variable is becoming 4, I equal to 4, this line is printed, it gone inside, it sees the continue, and from here it will directly jump onto next for loop. It won't print this line. That's the meaning of it.
Got it.
Okay?
Okay, got it.
So that's the meaning of for loop. And I will explain how while loop works. So now, while and like this. So while loop, inside that you need to give some condition. So while count is less than 4, or let's say I put like, count less than, what I'm passing there? Count is 5. Count is equal to so something like this. You can make any condition like this. While what is happening? Oh, I missed one there. Yes. So while count is less than 6. So now we are getting count as 5 from the welcome. You get 5. So it comes inside. 5 is less than 6. Right? So then I am printing I am in while loop. So you see here, it will never stop. It just keep on going. So unlimited looping. So because the condition is always satisfied. So as long as this condition is satisfied, whatever you pass in condition is satisfied, and it will keep on increasing. So now let's say now while count equal to count plus 1. For example, I say like this. So earlier situation, you see unlimited looping because the condition is satisfied and nobody is changing the count. Now I'm changing the count equal to incrementing the count plus 1. Let's remove this. Okay. Now run as Java application. Now you see here, I am in while loop. Only one time it is printed, meaning it comes as 5. 5 less than 6. It satisfies the condition and printed this loop, and count became 6. So again it go back to the while loop. 6 less than 6. Now it is false. So that's why second time it did not go to the loop. Let's say I'm increasing this to 7. Just I change the implementation. So now the loop should execute 2 times. Now you see, I'm in while loop 2 times. So this is how you can create while loops and make your own conditions and execute what you need to execute. Any questions? Oh, sorry, I missed to tell you. In the while loop also you can break. You can do break. If count equal to 6, break the loop. You can do the same, however you learn in the for loop, the similar concept. So I made 6. If the count is 6, break the loop. So it means it should print only one time. No, why? Oh, okay. Okay, because I put the line down. Well, now let's look at this. Okay, now you see this. So now what happened here? For 5, it came in 5 less than 7. So it printed this line. Now count became 6. And if the count is equal to 6, break. It won't go for the next line. So now you pass count less than 100. But still it won't print anything. Only one time. Because whenever count becomes 6, it is breaking the while loop. You see here, while loop. Okay? So though if I remove this line, it will execute until you reach 100. Maybe I'll keep the count here just to show you what is the print statement. I'm removing this if loop. Now you can see. So it will print until 100. Until 99. You see it, right? So now if I say if count is equal to 6, it won't print anything. If I say if count equal to 6, now break. Now nothing. Fine. It stopped. It is broken the loop. So similarly, you can say continue. Same concept. Whatever you learned in for loop is the same thing. And just for for demonstration purpose, I moved the print statement down. So now you can see what happens is because count is equal to count plus 1, and whenever it reaches continue, and that means 6 should not be printed here, because from here, whenever the line is satisfied with continue, it will go back to the next condition of the while loop. So many lines are printed, but you see here 6 is missed. Because we don't want, if it is 6, don't execute inside the while loop after continue is encountered. So that's all about while loop. Any questions? Clear?
Yes.
So that's all for today. If you have any questions, I'll answer. Otherwise, we can wrap up for today.